Hi, Karen with you today. Thank you so much for joining me for a scrapbook layout for Kitaholic Kits. And this is using the September 2021 kits. Oh my goodness, it's September, isn't that crazy? I am using a lot of my scraps for this particular layout. And I also fussy cut out some of the frames from the frame paper as well. So just testing out there, having a bit of a play to see what I think that layers are going to look like. I know I want to put a lot of layers on the page. It doesn't quite turn out to be those layers because when I went to put it down, I forgot how I put it, which I really should have taken a photo or stapled those pieces of paper. Although I still end up being really happy with the end result. I do want to use some mixed media on my layout as well. And I have pre-gessoed this white cardstock. There was no reason for it though. I just have a heap of white cardstock already ready to go for me because I pretty much gesso everything. But if you were going to replicate or do something similar, you do not need to do that for this particular mixed media that I've ended up choosing today. So I grabbed out a stencil from a previous mixed media kit, one of the Vicky Booten. I think this is from Colour Study. And I have mixed in with my white modelling paste some of the Dina Wakley gloss spray in the aloe. So I'm just randomly putting that across the page. I didn't mark or anything where my papers were going to go, but I had a rough idea around where it was going to go. I was more looking for a little bit on that top left-hand side and to be a bit of a reverted T shape, I guess. And while I was sitting there waiting for that to dry, I felt that I needed something more as well, seeing I knew I was going to put some flowers on this paper. So I grabbed out one of the other stencils from the Colour Study collection as well and added the apricot Dina Wakley gloss spray. And you do need to, because obviously the white modelling paste, I did have to put quite a bit of the spray into the modelling paste. So just think about it, that if you're going to do that, it does take a bit to get some of that colour into the white modelling paste. But I just wanted it to be subtle. This whole range gives that. I've pretty much gone with that subtle sort of tones with my mixed media for this month. It just really just lends itself so beautifully to this collection. And the gloss sprays were a perfect match to the collection as well. I added some splatters using the nozzle of the sprays as well, just in the aloe and the apricot, and that's all the colours that I'm going to mainly stay with for the mixed media. So I'm bringing back my layers now, and at this point I'm going, yeah, I don't remember how I had those layers. Oh well, let's go with it. So this morphs a few times, and then I settle on not using as many of those frame pieces. I end up only using 3. Or maybe end up using 4 by the time I've put one on the top, which you'll see in a moment. So I have a bit of a play, let's see what those layers wanted to look like. I do pop the photo up on some foam as well. And I grabbed the florals from the Floral Ephemera pack. I mean, how gorgeous are they? So I wanted to put some clusters across the page, but I also still wanted the flowers to show from those frames as well. So it took a little bit of manoeuvring and determining where I was going to put all of those flowers. And I was playing here as to whether I wanted to separate them and leave gaps between the photos or put them closer together and sit them on top of each other. I do sit them on top of each other. I know a lot of people can do the whole move the flowers and have them separated. It doesn't seem to work for me. I know that there's a number of wonderful creatives that can do that, and for some reason it just never sits well with me. I think it's because I like the idea of popping things up on foam and making a cluster a true cluster. So I then decided I wanted to put a little bit more of that subtle look over the page as well. So I grabbed some of the vellum that we got in this month's kit as well. It's not just for the backs of photos and things like that. I thought it would give that nice little tone to soften up some of that mixed media, and you can still see the mixed media through that as well. And I thought that just lent itself beautifully. I do back the photo. Oh, look at that, there's a fly. I do back the photo. I didn't even notice that when I was building that layout. That's funny. I do back the photo with some foam, like I said, and I also put I had some extra of a little tiny cut off of the wood grain paper and the apricot-y floral paper as well. So I've got a little tiny border just around the edges. Before I stuck down the pieces of patterned paper as well, I did distress them with my distressing tool, and I folded up the edges to give a bit of a more dimension on the page as well, by just flicking and folding the edges there on the corners. So I chose to do, so in terms of the page dynamic of where I wanted to go, I have done 3 clusters on the page, so I've kept with the 3 clusters, but it's not so much of a triangle, but then I've added in some of the butterflies as well, which actually then balances out some of that. So I've actually go in 2 diagonals across the page. You'll see in a moment I add some more butterflies to the right hand side down the bottom as well. So the florals are going from the left to the right, up into the right, and then so that gives that that cross diagonal shape. And then on the left hand side going to the right, down to the right, or if you want to right to the left on that diagonal is where I've placed the butterflies. I felt that gave it then the right sort of dimension and the right composition of the page. So I also added some thread, which is just from my stash. It was probably a little bit too bright, that green, but that was the only green I had, and I didn't have any others. I really need to do some more thread shopping. I don't have enough thread that actually goes with this particular layout. Oh my goodness, that flies back. I didn't even notice that when I was creating this. I'm so sorry. It's all about live and recording, isn't it? So I do place the threads, getting back to my layout, so the thread is placed underneath that cluster on the top right hand side as well, which I've added some of the clusters, and I also add a butterfly to there as well, just to give that bit of a balance to the page. I felt that it needed just not to be in the middle of the page, and it sort of gave that whole, it finished off the layout by putting that cluster at the top there on the right hand side. I added one of the wood buttons. Aren't they gorgeous? I love them. They were a bit homey though, the ones that I had left. So there was just one there that I think has a butterfly or a flower. I can't quite see as I'm listening to this, and I don't have the layout sitting beside me, which is a bit silly. I put a couple of puffy stickers on the page as well. And just with the butterflies, place some glue just in the center, so they are fluttering across the page. I cannot resist a fluttering butterfly. As you probably would have guessed with my layouts this month, I think they've all had fluttering butterflies. I cannot help it. I love butterflies, and I love the florals and everything that Zoe designs in her Cocoa Vanilla collections. They're just beautiful. So pretty much that's the layout. It didn't take, once I got the idea of what I was doing, it came together pretty quickly. So I add a title, which is just the title of Smile, just across on the right hand side. You'll see that in a moment. And then the layout is done. So as always, I would love it if you popped over to the store and checked out the monthly kit subscription information. Subbies also get exclusive access to a Facebook group where we share exclusives for subbies only, and we share and have lots of fun together as we pull together and get our scrapping done from our monthly kits. There is the standard kit, which is all the scrapbook side of things, and then there's the mixed media kit as well. We also have a Kitaholics community Facebook group that is open to everybody, and you can share along with us and tell us what you're up to in terms of your scrapping. We'd love to share. We'd love to see that every month. We also will probably have some cybercrops coming up in the near future as well. There's retreats every year, so I strongly encourage you to check out Kitaholic Kits and consider subscribing if you can. I would love it. So there is the final product. I have the final layout and some still shots of all the close-ups. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I would love it if you liked and subscribe. And if you already are a subscriber, thank you so much for coming and visiting me again today. I really appreciate all the support and the comments that I get. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.